In the residential neighborhood of Seattle where autumn evenings came early, Emily Carter was walking hand in hand with her daughter Sophia. 8-year-old Sophia was telling her mother about the day's events on their way home from school. Her bright laughter echoed through the quiet streets scattered with falling leaves. "Mama, the teacher said my painting in art class today was really good," Sophia continued happily, clutching her small backpack. "I drew a picture of our house with you and me planting flowers in the garden." Emily looked down at her daughter and smiled. Sophia's chestnut hair swayed in the wind, and her big brown eyes sparkled with curiosity. Even through the major change of divorce, this child had maintained her remarkably positive and bright personality. That was the greatest comfort for her mother. "That sounds wonderful. Can you show it to me later?" Emily gently squeezed her daughter's hand. The small house where they lived was on the corner of Maple Street. With its white siding and blue window frames, it was a typical American suburban home. A year had passed since the divorce was finalized, and Emily was finally getting used to their new life in this house. For her, starting over hadn't been easy, but her daughter's smile was her greatest support. When they opened the front door, warm evening sunlight streamed into the living room. Sophia dropped her school backpack on the floor and immediately headed to the kitchen. Her drawings and school notices posted on the refrigerator told the story of this small family's daily life. "Mama, I'm hungry," Sophia said while opening the refrigerator. "What would you like for a snack today?" Emily asked with a smile from behind her daughter. "Cookies," Sophia answered immediately. "But I want homemade ones." Emily smiled wryly. She didn't have time to make homemade cookies on a busy weekday evening, but seeing her daughter's expectant expression made it hard to refuse. Since the divorce, she had become extra considerate toward her daughter. Without a father present, her feelings of wanting to fulfill all of Sophia's wishes as a mother had grown stronger. "Let's make them together this weekend," Emily offered as a compromise. "Can you settle for store-bought cookies today?" Sophia looked a little disappointed but quickly recovered her smile. This child's adaptability sometimes amazed her mother. Sophia had adapted to the major family change of divorce better than expected. While preparing dinner, Emily was thinking about tomorrow. The weekend was when Sophia would spend time at her ex-husband Jason's house. The monthly visitation arranged through the divorce mediation brought up complex emotions for Emily. On one hand, she understood that it was important for her daughter to have time with her father, but on the other hand, she also felt the loneliness of being alone. "Mama, I get to see Papa tomorrow, right?" Sophia said while eating cookies at the dining table. "That's right. Are you looking forward to it?" Emily carefully observed her daughter's reaction. "Yes. Papa promised to take me to the park," Sophia's eyes sparkled. "And Papa's house has lots of fun games." Emily breathed a sigh of relief. As a mother, she was pleased that Sophia looked forward to time with her father. Divorce was an adult matter that had nothing to do with the child. If Sophia could continue to love both parents, that would be the best thing. That night, after putting Sophia to bed, Emily sat alone in the living room. In the silence, she reflected on the changes of the past year. The divorce had been a painful experience, but life with just her and her daughter was more peaceful and satisfying than expected. Work was going well, and Sophia was enjoying school life. This small family, though in a new form, was definitely walking the path toward happiness. Outside the window, the autumn wind swayed the trees, and streetlights illuminated the quiet residential neighborhood. Emily fell asleep peacefully, thinking about tomorrow. On Monday morning, Emily began her day with the usual rush. Her job at the real estate company, Seattle Properties, was an important source of income supporting their post-divorce life. After dropping Sophia off at school, she headed to the downtown office. "Good morning, Emily," her colleague Sarah called out. "What's your schedule today?" 2 waterfront property showings in the morning, and this afternoon I have to review contract documents for a new condominium in Bellevue, Emily answered while drinking coffee. Plus, there's an open house this weekend. She had been working in real estate for 3 years, and Emily found this job fulfilling. Helping people start new lives overlapped with her own fresh start. Especially from female clients who had experienced divorce, she often gained trust as a sales representative who understood their situation. The morning showings went smoothly. Emily carefully explained the property features to customers with different needs, a young couple and a senior couple. Seattle's real estate market was highly competitive, and the key to success was sincerely engaging with each customer. During lunch break, when she checked her cell phone, there was a message from Sophia's school. She remembered there was a parent observation day this Thursday and marked it in her schedule book. As a single mother, she made it a point to attend her daughter's school events whenever possible. In the afternoon, while finalizing a contract at a luxury condominium in Bellevue, a female customer spoke to her. "Emily, you're divorced, aren't you?" Emily was a little surprised but answered calmly, "Yes, that's right. I've had a similar experience." When you have children, a fresh start is really difficult, isn't it? The woman showed an empathetic expression. "But looking at you, I think you're very positive and wonderful." Such conversations weren't unusual. Emily's experience seemed to be encouraging for women in similar situations. By not hiding her experiences and sharing them with customers when necessary, she built deeper trust relationships. On Thursday afternoon, Emily visited Sophia's school. In the 3rd grade classroom at Woodland Elementary School, the children were giving social studies presentations. When Sophia's turn came, she stood up confidently. "I'm going to talk about my family," Sophia began in a loud voice. "I have a mama and papa. But now I live with Mama. Mama works selling houses and is very hardworking." Emily's heart warmed at her daughter's words. Sophia seemed to understand and accept the complex family situation in her own childlike way. "Papa lives in a different house, and we play together sometimes. Papa's house also has a new big sister." Emily was inwardly surprised by these words. This was the first time she had heard Sophia talk about a new big sister. After the parent observation ended, Emily asked her daughter on the way home. "Sophia, you were talking about a new big sister earlier." "Yes, a person named Rachel," Sophia answered innocently. "Papa introduced her to me. She's a very pretty person who makes sweets for me." While feeling complex emotions, Emily tried to respond calmly. She had expected her ex-husband Jason to have a new girlfriend, but she didn't know that person was in contact with Sophia. "Is that so? Is Rachel a kind person?" "Yes, very kind. But," Sophia showed a slightly thoughtful expression. "Sometimes she stares at me. It feels kind of strange." Emily felt a slight uneasiness at her daughter's words, but avoided pursuing it deeply. Children's senses are sometimes more sensitive than adults, but it might be natural bewilderment about a new relationship. That night, after Sophia fell asleep, Emily sat alone in the kitchen, drinking warm herbal tea and thinking. The existence of her ex-husband's new girlfriend was a reality she had anticipated. However, as a mother, she was concerned that this person was beginning to influence her daughter's life. The next day at dinner, Sophia began talking about Rachel again. "Mama, Rachel is very good at baking cakes. She made chocolate cake for me last time." "That's nice, wasn't it?" Emily answered with a smile. But Sophia lowered her voice a little. "When Rachel told me you're Papa's most precious treasure, it felt kind of strange." Emily carefully observed her daughter's expression. "Why did it feel strange?" "I don't know, but I wondered if she really meant it." Sophia tilted her head. "It felt different from when Mama says it. Children's intuition is sometimes sharper than adults." Emily kept her daughter's words in mind while maintaining outward calm. However, inwardly, a slight sense of caution was growing. As the weekend approached, Sophia looked forward to meeting her father. But she didn't show as much excitement as before and sometimes displayed a complex expression. "Mama, when I see Papa next time, will Rachel be there too?" Sophia asked while helping prepare dinner. "I wonder. Why don't you ask Papa?" Emily placed her hand on her daughter's shoulder. "Even if Rachel is there, your special time with Papa won't change." "Yes, that's right," Sophia smiled but also showed a somewhat anxious expression. That night, after putting her daughter to bed, Emily stood by the living room window for a long time. The city lights illuminated the quiet residential neighborhood, and car sounds could be heard in the distance. She was thinking that maybe she should talk directly with Jason about his new girlfriend. However, she also felt reluctant to disturb the peaceful relationship they had finally built a year after the divorce. What mattered most was Sophia's happiness. Emily renewed her feeling that her role as a mother was to continue watching over her daughter so she could maintain a good relationship with her father while also adapting to the new environment. After 6 o'clock on Friday afternoon, Emily came home with tired steps. That day had been particularly busy, passing with 3 showing appointments and contract document reviews. When she opened the front door, she could hear Sophia's cheerful laughter from the living room. "Mama, welcome home." Sophia was sitting on the sofa, taking something out of a small floral patterned bag. Her face showed a satisfied smile, and there were fine cookie crumbs around her mouth. "I'm home, Sophia," Emily answered while putting her bag by the entrance. "What are you eating?" "Cookies. They're really delicious," Sophia happily showed the cookie in her hand. It appeared to be homemade, with a somewhat irregular shape and chocolate chips. "I found it in the mailbox." Emily frowned. "In the mailbox?" "Yes, it was in this cute bag." Sophia held up the small floral fabric bag. There was also a letter with it. It said, "For Sophia, please enjoy these delicious cookies." Anxiety crossed Emily's mind. Was it a gift from a neighbor, or perhaps? "Who do you think it's from?" Emily asked, sitting near her daughter. "Probably from Grandma," Sophia answered innocently. "Grandma would like this kind of cute bag, don't you think? And when we talked on the phone recently, she said she would send homemade sweets sometime." Emily thought of her mother. Indeed, her mother Margaret liked handicrafts and might make such a floral bag. However, her mother usually contacted them before sending gifts. "But Grandma hasn't contacted us, has she?" Emily said carefully. Maybe not." Sophia reached for another cookie. "But maybe it's a surprise." Emily stood up and headed to the kitchen phone. "I'll check with Grandma." After the phone rang several times, her mother's familiar voice was heard. "Good evening, Emily. What's wrong?" "Mom, did you send homemade cookies to Sophia?" "Cookies?" Confusion mixed into Margaret's voice. "No, I didn't send anything like that." "What's wrong suddenly?" Emily's heart began to race. "Sophia found cookies in the mailbox and is eating them." "I thought they were from you." "Not from me. I didn't send anything like that." Her mother's voice became worried. "Emily, that's..." When her mother was about to say something on the phone, a strange sound came from the living room. When Emily turned around, Sophia had suddenly stood up and was holding her throat. "Mama." Sophia's voice was hoarse and sounded painful. Emily dropped the phone and rushed to her daughter. Sophia's face was pale, and her breathing was becoming rough. "Sophia. What's wrong?" "My throat hurts." Sophia answered with tears in her eyes. "I feel sick." At that moment, Sophia's body swayed and she collapsed to the floor. Emily held her daughter while nearly panicking. "Sophia. Stay with me." Her daughter's breathing was shallow, and her complexion was getting worse. Emily took out her cell phone with trembling hands and called 911. Emily gave the address while watching Sophia's condition. Her daughter's hands were cold, and cold sweat appeared on her forehead. 5 minutes later, the ambulance siren echoed through the residential neighborhood. The paramedics quickly placed Sophia on a stretcher, and Emily rode along in the ambulance. "What did she eat?" one of the paramedics asked. "Homemade cookies. They were left in our mailbox," Emily answered while gripping her daughter's hand. In the ambulance, Sophia occasionally moaned. Emily kept talking to her daughter desperately. "It's okay, Sophia. We'll be at the hospital soon. Mama's here with you." When they arrived at Seattle Children's Hospital, Sophia was immediately taken to the emergency room. Emily was instructed to wait in the waiting room, but she couldn't calm down. 30 minutes later, the attending physician Dr. Patel appeared. "Mrs. Carter, your daughter's condition is stable," the doctor began speaking calmly. "We performed a stomach lavage and she's currently receiving fluids through 4. Was it poison?" Emily asked in a trembling voice. "We're waiting for blood test results, but judging from the symptoms, it's likely she ingested some harmful substance." Dr. Patel showed a serious expression. "Do you have any of the cookies left? We need them for analysis." "Yes, they're at home," Emily answered. "Also, we need to contact the police. This is possibly intentional poisoning." Emily's head was confused. Who would do such a thing to Sophia? Why would an innocent 8-year-old girl be targeted? An hour later, the blood test results came out. A large amount of sleeping pill components were detected in Sophia's blood. It wasn't a fatal amount, but it was dangerous enough for a child. "Fortunately, it appears your daughter only ate a small amount," Dr. Patel explained. "If she had eaten all of it, the situation would have been much more serious." That night, Sophia was kept for overnight observation at the hospital. Emily sat at her daughter's bedside, holding her small hand and thinking continuously. Suddenly, Rachel's face came to mind. The words Sophia had said about being stared at and feeling strange came back to her. While thinking, surely not, dark suspicions were growing in Emily's heart. Late at night, when Sophia finally began breathing peacefully in sleep, Emily picked up her cell phone. She might need to contact the police and talk about her ex-husband Jason's new girlfriend. Walking through the hospital corridor, Emily renewed her determination to do anything to protect her daughter. She had to find out the truth about who tried to hurt her daughter. She absolutely could not forgive whoever tried to take away Sophia's innocent smile. The next morning, Seattle Police Detective Johnson and Detective Davis visited Emily's home. Sophia had been under observation at the hospital since the previous night, but fortunately her condition was stable. The two detectives carefully collected the remaining cookies and floral bag into evidence bags for crime scene investigation. "Mrs. Carter, do you know of anyone who might hold a grudge against your daughter?" Detective Johnson asked. He had years of experience handling cases involving children. Emily hesitated before speaking. "Actually, my ex-husband has a new girlfriend. A woman named Rachel, and she seems to have been in contact with Sophia recently." "What kind of contact?" Detective Davis asked while taking notes. "During monthly visitations, she apparently meets Sophia at my ex-husband's house. I was concerned that my daughter said she sometimes stares at her and it feels strange." The two detectives looked at each other. Detective Johnson continued. "Please give us detailed information about your ex-husband and his girlfriend." Emily provided her ex-husband Jason Baker's address and contact information, and the information she knew about Rachel. She only knew her name was Rachel Miller, around 30 years old, and worked in finance. "We'll also check neighborhood security cameras," Detective Davis explained. "We'll investigate whether any suspicious persons were walking in this area yesterday afternoon." In the afternoon, while Emily was staying with Sophia at the hospital, Detective Johnson called. Mrs. Carter, we've made an important discovery. A nearby residential security camera captured a woman putting something in your mailbox around 3 p.m. yesterday. Emily's heart pounded. What kind of woman? A woman with blonde hair wearing a black coat, appearing to be in her early 30s. Her face is clearly visible. Do you have a photo of your ex-husband's girlfriend? I'll check right away, Emily answered. Emily checked Sophia's smartphone. Among the photos her daughter had taken at her father's house, there were some with Rachel in them. Blonde hair, refined features, and elegant demeanor. She was smiling in the photo, but that smile somehow looked artificial. When she sent the photo to the police station, there was a confirmation call an hour later. No mistake. It's the same person as the woman captured on the security camera, Detective Johnson's voice was confident. We're proceeding with identity confirmation of Rachel Miller. In the evening, even more shocking facts were revealed. Detective Davis visited the hospital and shared important information. When we investigated Rachel Miller, we found she has a history of problematic behavior, the detective continued with a serious expression. 5 years ago, she took threatening actions toward her previous boyfriend's child and received a warning. Emily was stunned. What kind of actions? I can't give details, but she apparently considered her boyfriend's ex-wife's child a troublesome existence and engaged in various harassment. Fortunately, nothing serious happened, but police intervention was necessary. Looking at Sophia sleeping in the bed, Emily trembled with anger and fear. Her own daughter had been targeted by such a dangerous person. What do you think Rachel's motive was? Emily asked. Probably she wanted to marry Mr. Baker but considered your daughter's existence an obstacle, Detective Johnson explained. In such cases, there's often a psychology of trying to eliminate the child who would become a stepchild. On Sunday morning, police arrested Rachel Miller. She initially denied the charges, but when confronted with security camera footage and physical evidence, she finally admitted to the crime. I wanted to marry Jason. But as long as that child was around, I thought we couldn't become a real family, Rachel said during interrogation. I only intended to put in a light sleeping pill at first. I thought if she got sick and was hospitalized, Jason would stop visitations. However, Rachel's calculation was wrong. Without considering the child's body weight when mixing the sleeping pills, it became a dangerous amount for Sophia. In the afternoon, Emily received a call from her ex-husband Jason. His voice was trembling. Emily, I'm really sorry. I didn't know anything. I had no idea Rachel was thinking such things. Jason, are you really not involved? Emily asked directly. I swear I'm not. I had no idea about Rachel's true nature. I never even thought about harming Sophia. Jason's voice was filled with regret and self-reproach. I'm the worst father. I couldn't protect my own daughter. Police investigation proved Jason's innocence. He had no knowledge of Rachel's plan and actually believed she was fond of Sophia. Rachel had skillfully used a double face. On Monday, Sophia was able to be discharged from the hospital. According to the doctor, the drugs in her body had been completely eliminated, and there was no concern about after effects. However, it was noted that psychological care might be necessary. When leaving the hospital, Sophia held Emily's hand tightly and asked, Mama, why did Rachel do that to me? Emily looked into her daughter's eyes and carefully chose her words. Sophia, sometimes among adults, there are people who have wrong ideas. But that's never your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Can't I see Papa anymore? Tears welled up in Sophia's eyes. Emily was at a loss for this question. Legal procedures would be necessary, and Jason's visitation rights might need reconsideration. However, the most important thing was Sophia's safety and emotional stability. Let's think about it slowly. Above all, the most important thing is that you're safe and happy, Emily answered while embracing her daughter. That night, Rachel Miller was formally charged with attempted murder. Her actions exceeded mere harassment and were treated as a serious crime that endangered a child's life. Emily reflected on the series of events in the quiet living room of their home. If Sophia had eaten all the cookies, if transport to the hospital had been delayed. Just thinking about it made her shudder. 3 months later, at Seattle District Court, Rachel Miller was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The crime of attempted murder was serious, and the possibility of parole was considered low. Emily felt the weight in her heart finally lighten as she heard the verdict in the courtroom. After the incident, Jason was driven by deep feelings of guilt. Painfully aware that his poor judgment had put his daughter in danger, he offered to voluntarily give up his visitation rights to Emily. However, after careful consideration, Emily determined that completely severing the father-daughter relationship would not be appropriate. For Sophia, you are an important father. Emily was able to have a calm discussion with Jason for the first time since the divorce. However, there are conditions. Under the new arrangement, visits were reduced from monthly to every 2 months, and would always take place in public places with Emily's consent. Also, if Jason had a new romantic partner, he would report it to Emily in advance, and contact with Sophia would be carefully staged. After the incident, Sophia was troubled by nightmares for a while. Through repeated sessions with the school counselor, she gradually healed her emotional wounds. She seemed to be thinking about when she grew up, and one day told Emily, "Mama, when I grow up, I want to do work protecting children." "Why?" Emily asked gently. "Because I think it would be good if there were no children who had scary experiences like me." Sophia's clear eyes held a strong will that seemed beyond that of an 8-year-old child. Emily was amazed by her daughter's growth. Through the painful experience, Sophia had developed compassion for others and a sense of justice. As a mother, she was proud, but also worried. She also felt sorry for burdening her still young daughter with such heavy reality. When spring arrived, Emily was offered a promotion at work. Her attitude as a single mother working desperately was recognized, and she was promoted to a manager position. The income increase brought stability to their lives and allowed her to save money for Sophia. "Mama, are we moving to a new house?" Sophia asked worriedly. "No, this house is our precious place," Emily smiled. "But let's make the garden a little bigger and create the flower bed you've always wanted." One autumn day, 6 months after the incident, the two were planting flower seedlings in the garden. Sophia was carefully planting tulip bulbs while getting covered in dirt. "Mama, will these really bloom in spring?" "Yes, they'll surely bloom beautiful flowers," Emily answered while stroking her daughter's head. "But we have to take good care of them." "I'll water them every day." Sophia's eyes shone with hope. At that moment, Emily realized something. A real family isn't formed only by blood relations or legal relationships. The essence of family is truly caring for each other, supporting each other during difficult times, and wishing for each other's happiness above all else. Rachel had been Jason's girlfriend legally, but she never truly loved Sophia. On the other hand, between Emily and her daughter was a deep bond that couldn't be broken by any difficulty. While the form of their family had changed through divorce, the love between mother and daughter had become stronger than before. At twilight, after finishing their garden work, the two were preparing dinner in the kitchen. Sophia talked about fun events at school, and Emily shared small successes at work. It was casual daily conversation, but it felt more precious than anything. "Mama, we're happy, aren't we?" Sophia suddenly said. "Why do you think so?" "Because we can be together every day, and we really care about each other," Sophia answered as if stating the obvious. Emily embraced her daughter. This small family had overcome various trials and built true bonds. Though small in form, here was a home filled with love. Outside the window, the first snow began falling quietly. Next spring, the tulips they had planted would bloom beautiful flowers. Until then, mother and daughter would get through the long winter, supporting each other. With hope for the new season in their hearts.